What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is the review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, reunion part 2. I'm just gonna be honest, it wasn't really a whole lot they giving me, but let's go ahead and get through what we got. So Marlo, we left off with Marlo giving us her story. Candy said on Speak on It, or one of her interviews she did this week, that it just sounded rehearsed to her. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like I never want to laugh at or feel like I'm degrading somebody's experience, because Marlo definitely does have a horrible story. She's been through a lot, and I don't negate any of it, but I do feel like her it did come off very rehearsed. That's all I'm gonna say about that child. They talk about the break in, and Kenya tweeted out about, oh well, I'm sorry. I hope everybody's okay, but I feel like she could have done more to tell us what was going on and put us about and not basically putting us all in danger by not sharing what she knew. Now let me say this: in the moment, I'm gonna have to go with Marlo on this one. In the moment, Marlo, first of all, for you to think that in a moment where Marlo literally had her house broken into while she was there with her nephews, they literally had to go into the panic room. She said she yelled some things to them. She probably let them know that she was strapped and locked and loaded, and they could come up them steps if they want to, because she said they turned around and left. And I know that they didn't turn around and leave because she asked nicely. She probably let them know, and she probably even did a click click and let them hear it, okay? Because I'm just saying, that's what I feel like had happened. But for Kenya to feel like in that moment that they were the top of Marlo's list of things to do, I'm sorry. Like, and then Marlo said, well, I didn't say more because the police asked me not to share a lot. And we know that that's true in ongoing investigations. And now we find out that Marlo is possibly a part of this whole RICO case, because it was a whole gang of robberies, and she was one of the houses that was targeted. We know that Candy's house had a situation. Drew's house had a situation. So there probably was like a whole thing going on, and I just think that Marlo probably shared what she could share. I don't know on that one. I'm gonna have to go with Marlo on that one. I just feel like Kenya. I feel like you put 20 or 10. I don't know. They talked about her kicking the boys out, and she said, maybe my language was wrong. Maybe, on the show I said I kicked the boys out, and maybe that wasn't the best language to use, because I wasn't kicking the boys out, but I needed a reset. She said, having grown up seeing abuse, and that was the only way you dealt with conflict. She said, I felt myself getting to that point, and I needed a reset so that I could be a better parent for them. She said, when foster parents go, they have to go to classes, and they have to figure things out. She said, I didn't take any classes. I was doing the best I could with what I had, and it wasn't enough in that moment. And again, I have to say I do understand where Marlo was coming from. The language that she used probably wasn't the best. I put them out, and maybe her way of doing it wasn't the best. Like, she waited until she got so frustrated that she had to say, "Listen, get out." And I know what people were saying. Well, parents don't get to just put their kids out. Da da da. But the reality is, there are parents that say, "Listen, I need a break. Like, I need a minute." And I think that, now that we're in an age where we are protecting our mental health, and we are being a lot more honest about our mental health, there might be times where parents do need, even though it ain't the politically correct thing, but there may be times when parents have to say, I need a break for my kids. Because if I don't take a break, it's going to be a problem. And I'm going to put my hands on them, or I'm going to say something I don't need to say, or it's just going to be a lot. And so I appreciate Marlo identifying it before it became an issue, where it did. And it sounds like she was afraid that she was going to become abusive. That's what it sounded like. And if that was the alternative, she said, she's gone to therapy, she's gotten a life coach, and that she's in a much better place now. And I just have to say, listen, I'm going to respect that, man. Y'all know I don't be giving Marlo a lot, but on those two things, I just got to be honest. Then they talked about how production did a good job of basically calling out the lies, child, with their receipts. Now I'm gonna say this: I feel like production on Bravo always does that. Maybe this year was so blatant because these people was just straight up lying. I don't know, but I don't feel like that's anything new. I feel like production does that on every Bravo show, not just the Real Housewives. They do it on Married to Medicine. They do it on other Bravo shows that I have watched in the past. They are good about pulling a receipt. Yeah. They talked about Drew and gaslighting, and she was like how she really didn't know what the term was, but once she looked at the definition, then she realized, oh, wait a minute, maybe that is what was going on with me and my husband. And she said it opened the door for them to have the conversation, to acknowledge that this is what's really going on, so they could work on it. They get to Kenya's segment, and they were talking about how there was a kinder, gentler Kenya this year, at least at the beginning of the season. And Kenya said, coming off of Dancing with the Stars, she was in such a good place, because Dancing with the Stars put her in a good place because she, because of her grandmother, and it just brought back memories of growing up, going to the taking dance classes and dancing for her, and her grandmother coming to the recitals. And so she said it just really put her in a better place, and how she was so happy to just coming off of it. And so she really was in a better place, and she was a kinder, gentler Kenya. And I think it lasted most of the season. I mean, Kenya gonna be Kenya, child, and we gonna get some zingers, but I think it lasted most of the season with that. They talked about the whole thing with the couples trip, and Sonya cleared it up. Sonya was like, listen, I saw how it looked in hindsight when I watched it back. She said, but in the moment, it wasn't that I was trying to dwell on the fact that it's a couples trip. It's a couples trip. It's a couples trip. It's a couples trip. She said, but I realized that I had told the other ladies that it's a couples trip, but not just for a man-woman couple, but it's a couples trip like you can bring somebody else. That doesn't have to be a romantic situation. She said, but I definitely saw how it worked, but she still was mad that Kenya hung up on her child. Martell called while this was going on, and so of course they had to have a whole moment. It looked like Martell talked to Andy and talked to the, and so that was cute. I feel like Sheree told him to call, because why your phone is even still on? Like, why is your phone not on do not disturb? Why is your phone not on vibrate? Like, I feel like that was planned. But anyway. Then they were talking to Sonya about Kenya's sob story and how she felt, because she felt like Kenya sort of set her up or whatever, that every time you try to, pull Kenya's coattail, that she used her sob story as an excuse. And she was like, I just felt like she was using an excuse. But Kenya said that it wasn't like that. That she was sincere in that, and she felt bad because she felt like she was opening up to Sonya, and for Sonya to feel like she was just using it as an excuse, or using it for sympathy. It kind of hurt her feelings. We did Sonya's segment. It really wasn't nothing there except for about her deciding to have a baby, and her and Drew once again arguing over when Drew said that it's a woman's job to have a baby for her husband if he want to have a baby. And child, they wanted to make a big deal out of that. And Drew, this is what I'm gonna need you to start doing. Drew, I'm gonna need you to just start standing in your shit, okay? You said it, you meant it, that's how you felt. But Drew went all the way around Robin Hood's barn to basically come back to the beginning and say, yeah, I do feel like that's what it is, because the man can't have a baby, so it is up to the woman to have a baby, and that's what her man wants it. Then yes, I do feel like it's her responsibility. Child, we could have started there. Because that's sure where we ended up. Anyway. Child, Marlo and Kenya, listen. Marlo and Kenya been arguing for damn 10 years. And I don't have the energy. I do not. I don't have the energy. I don't. I just don't. We did talk about the birthday party for Brooklyn where they had the shady game. And Kenya was like, well, I didn't think the game was going to go that way. I mean, I thought maybe somebody would say something about who dyes their pubes. Kenya, that's still an inappropriate conversation to have at a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old's birthday party. Like, that's still not something that I think is an appropriate conversation. So the fact that you thought that's where the game was going to go still tells me that the game was going somewhere inappropriate. They brought up the comment about Candy giving oral sex all over the place, and Sheree tried to backpedal up off of that, telling my son, well, I mean, you say how much you like sex. I mean, I figured you would be giving head all over the place. Candy was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then all y'all do. Like, you don't put me out there and make me out to be different. But, child, she tried to come up off of that, but it wasn't, it ain't really gained no legs or whatever. Um, Back to the Marlo Kenya thing. Like Marlo, of course, she tried to be passive aggressive and try to play victim, and how she's Kenya just won't forgive her, and she understands, and they tried to say, well, you have to understand that you said some really nasty things to Kenya. Like, why would you expect her to forgive you? Like, you said some really really nasty things to her. And so one of the questions were to Kenya, why do you come on get on Marlo so bad when you said some nasty things yourself? She was like, yeah, but I haven't said nasty things that would affect other people. I've said it to one person one on one. She was like, the stuff Marlo says about me doesn't bother me. It's the stuff that Marlo says about the people around me that are hurtful. That's what bothers me. Child, whatever. I feel like all y'all throw shade and all y'all say nasty shit to each other. Now, granted, some of the stuff Marlo says is a little below the belt, but I feel like all of y'all have the ability to go below the belt. I feel like all of y'all go below the belt. That's just my opinion. Okay? Child, then we brought up Anthony. Anthony is lying to everybody. Let's just go on and put that out there. Drew brings out a tape of Anthony admitting that he never said that Ralph was gay, but then Sheree calls Anthony, and Anthony says, well, you don't owe me any money, and I never said you did, and no, I was never your assistant. So Anthony is just lying to everybody. He gonna say, well, no, I didn't say that about Ralph's, I never said Ralph was gay, but I do feel like Sonya needed a storyline, and then she decided to make that her storyline for the season. Baby, did you see how fast Andy cut her off? When she started talking about, when Anthony started talking about storylines, baby, Andy was like, okay, that's it. That's all we need to know. Okay, that's enough. I said, And anyway, that was pretty much it, y'all. The only thing I did forget from last week that I forgot to say was about Sheree admitting that she don't pay people. Like, in a roundabout way, Sheree admitted she don't pay people, because she gonna say, well, do you pay for services you're not happy with? And everybody was like, girl, yes. Like, you still have to pay these people. Like, you can sue them, or you can not use them again, but you can't just not pay people because you don't like the work that they did, if they did a job for you. Girl, so she basically admitted that she don't be paying nobody. That's all I got. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.